Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to part 20, I think we're at now, big 20 on our WordPress tutorial for beginners series. This video is going to end up being a little shorter. We're just going to focus on HTTPSing our site, or our SSL certificate, which, like I explained before, is when you go to a site and it has the HTTPS before the site's name. And that kind of lets a user know that the site is secure and that they can feel okay about putting their information in on forums and stuff like that. And in today's site, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that to make sure that our site is secure. And so actually, one thing about HostGator that's kind of nice is that they include this by default with most of the sites that are hosted with them. And if you type that in your bar, which I'll show you that right now, if we go HTTPS and then a colon and then 2 forward slashes, it's going to change the site to the secured version. But you're going to notice something pretty interesting here, which is this little triangle with a exclamation point. Now what that is it's indicating that parts of the page are not secure, meaning like images, and usually it's images that throws this off. And I wanted to bring this up because we're going to take care of that here pretty quick. But I actually want to backtrack for a second and backpedal to talking about SSL certificates. So not every server will do this. They're not all going to give you a SSL certificate for free. I know more and more are doing that these days, but not all of them do that. And if they don't, you're going to have to set one up, and that's either going to be through your NameCheap by buying a Comodo certificate, which I think is like $7 or $8 a year, or you're going to have to do it through Cloudflare. And I'm going to have a future video, maybe it might even be the next one, I'm not sure, showing up setting those two things up. And I think we're going to set up a Cloudflare either way, even if we don't use its SSL certificate. It will probably be one of the upcoming videos. But for today, we're going to keep it short and just show you what's going on here and how to fix it, because if you did everything with HostGator, you'll be able to have this by default. One thing that I wanted to show you was the site's secure. Most of the information is secure except for things that are throwing it off, like pictures, which isn't allowing it to be all the way secure. And if we go to our Contact Us page, which if you look in the bottom left corner, when I hover over this, it says down there, HTTPS Contact Us. If we go to that page, you'll notice that the lock now is locked. And if we click it, it says the connection is absolutely secure. This is good because this is our contact page, and we want this one's the most important one to be secure. But the problem persists on our home page. And so if we go back to our home page, we don't have the link set up in HTTPS, so it's going to disappear. So we have to retype it. So if we come back to the home page in secured mode and we have this little icon, we need to figure out how to secure the rest of our page in order to have that HTTPS version. Well, there's a way to do that, and I'm in Firefox doing this, and it works very similarly in Chrome. But if you right-click your page and you view inspect element, you can really do this anywhere, and then you click the network button, it's going to show you what was requested on your site. We're actually going to refresh this page, and it's going to start loading the stuff in real time. Now, as you can see, everything that has a lock on it, these are resources being requested by the page. Let's start there. And it's like your style sheets and all the stuff WordPress calls in real time to run. Now you're going to notice that everything has locks on it, right? And this means that it's being called in properly and securely. But if you keep scrolling, you're going to start seeing things right here that were not. And that's what's giving this page the error where it's not allowing it to show all the way secure. This Bellflower site image, which is these images down here, by the way. If we take a scroll, you'll see them right there. These images are not being called in securely. They're being called in using the HTTP. They're using that. They're not using HTTPS. So they're using the wrong version. And it's throwing off the page because it's not requesting the images. And as you can tell, there are currently, I believe, 3 or 4 items that are doing this. So how do we fix this? Well, this actually happens because when we created the theme and we were in our customize, these images were called in through a upload section. And in the upload section, they were called in only as HTTP, not HTTPS. So that's how we need to fix it. So I'm going to show you that right now. So up here, we would actually go to customize. Okay, so when we click customize, it's going to take us to the back side of our WordPress site to customize. And if you remember this theme, we have this top slider section that we put this picture into. And we actually uploaded the picture of that rose. Now, the thing about WordPress is sometimes it's kind of finicky about letting you type into this box. It won't let you republish. It's sometimes, like I said, is weird about that. And so the way that we could do that, or quickly override it, is we have to just get this box to say publish. So like what we just did is I just clicked open in a new tab, don't open in a new tab. And then it allowed us to create that into a publishable mode. So if we just hit that, it's now going to publish and update our site. So if we go back to the front end and we refresh it again, make sure we're in HTTPS mode, it's going to reload. And if we right click this and we inspect it, you're going to find that it now is being called in HTTPS. So it got rid of that first problem we had with that image. But we now have to do that to the following images down here. And so on our customize screen, we can go down here, we can click all these through here, and these all are project items as well. And like I said, you can make this republish by changing basically anything, like clicking container full and then back to regular container. You can really do anything. Now it's ready to update again. So we can open each of these project items and we can add the S the way we need it to be in there. And it's going to update all of these to a secured image, which is what we need it to do. Okay. So now everything is secure that it was calling to be secure in the site. Once we go ahead and publish this, I'll go ahead and show you that on the front. Take a refresh, and this should show a secured lock. Look at that. We did it. Now everything on the page is being called securely and properly the way it should be. And so now when people type in HTTPS, or if they come here on a secured version of our site, they're going to get the proper site versus the one that shows them that it's not really secure, which is not a good thing. You really don't want your site to do that. If it's secure, you want it to be secure. But there's one more thing we need to do. These links are not explicitly being called in HTTPS. It's just calling them that way because that's the version of the page we're on. And really, we should fix that. And the way that we fix that is in our menus. So if we go back to the back end of our site, and you actually have a menus accessible from the top bar here, you can go to the back end of your site and you can now edit these menus in our main menu. So for our home link, we can just change this to an S. Same thing for our contact, or our contact actually, that's another thing. Really the reason why it's doing that is you see this is a custom link. This isn't actually our homepage link. This was put in the beginning when I started this. If we actually drag in our from our pages column and we add it in, and then we drag it to the top again and we just name it home, take away that's the name that it shows on the menu, and we save that. Now these are going to default to doing whatever the page is. So if the page is in HTTP mode, these will be in HTTP mode. If it's in HTTPS mode, these will be in HTTPS mode. And I'll prove that now by going to the contact, which also has a secure link, and now the home is in HTTPS by default as well. Or that's actually went to the wrong page. Let's see, we just wanted to go to our home page. Yeah, see the difference was actually this was a page that, remember we had two home pages. We had two home pages. We had the one that we made, and then we had the one that the plugin made that did this theme. So that's the one we actually needed to put in, was the home page that they made. Okay, so that's our front page, and now that's going to work. I'm glad I didn't take that out because I'm showing the issues real time with configuring a theme that you're not used to. So there we go. Now it should head back. Now we don't have that /home and it's proper. And as you can see, our site is secure. So like I was saying before, this is pretty cool because HostGator does this by default, and this is actually a pretty good value. Usually you have to pay an additional, I don't know, $10 a year or something for this, and that makes the HostGator thing kind of cool, especially because the server is pretty inexpensive. And before, when I did the server video, I know I clicked 1 month at $11. You could absolutely select the year and pay for a full year for $55 at $5 a month if that's what you want to do. I just selected 1 month because this site is only going to be up for the example of this, and I kind of wanted to say that because back in the video about setting up our server, I never said that. But this video was just meant to show you kind of how to hunt down issues with your page not being in secured mode. If you were following this exact tutorial and you had a HostGator site, and you're wanting to update it, and it wasn't it was giving you that icon with the thing, you can hunt down that stuff by right-clicking your page, inspecting the elements, going to the networking, and making sure everything's loading in secure. And as you can tell, if we were to refresh this again and watch it real time, everything is now loading in securely, and there's no broken links or anything, or no broken locks. So that's pretty much a good overview of that, and that was just a real quick video just to give you kind of a rundown on SSL and how to make sure your site shows secure so people feel good about submitting your contact form and all that stuff. And if we were to add any pictures to other pages, we just have to make sure we do the same thing. Set the locks as secure, and then that way when somebody comes into our site, their browser doesn't give them any wonky notifications that our site isn't actually secure, and they need to be careful about what information they put in, because that's what it would have gave them. That's going to wrap us up for 20, guys. I'm pretty happy that we made it to 20. There's going to be plenty more on the way. I think the one behind this is either going to be about site speed. I'm pretty sure it's going to be about site speed. The next thing is you want to make sure that your site is optimized for speed and that all your components are loading in fast and tracking down what's slowing your site down if it is slow. And that's what we're going to cover. I'm pretty sure we're going to cover that in 21. So be on the lookout for that. As usual, like, subscribe, comment. I look forward to any comments that request any help or any specific information. If you ask, I'll answer generally, or do my best to recommend you whatever you're looking for. So I appreciate you guys watching it, and I look forward to seeing you guys in part 21.